So, all right, so let's get this thing rolling. Welcome to the Beyond the Track. So I always tell everybody, look, you know, everything I say here, I'm still an intermediate track day rider, and then the things that I'm learning, I'm just sharing with others because it may be helpful. I know what my pain points are as I'm learning things, so I might as well just share with others so that they don't fall into the same traps that I did as I was learning things. All right, what are these meetings all about? I'm always asked. A couple of months ago, I was thinking hard, you know, how are the better ways for us to become better riders overall? And I've identified three. One is go ride at the track, not on the street, too much gravel, incoming traffic, people on their, you know, texting on their phones, people oblivious to motorcycle riders. So just go to the track. Best way to actually get better as a rider. Second, as you're at the track, go to class, work with instructors, get instructors to follow you on track, and then they're gonna call you in to say, hey, that thing there, you can actually, you know, move your brake points a little bit deeper, or you need to move your body off the bike more. They're gonna give you a lot of pointers that, as the rider, you may not be seeing it, but somebody from the outside who has the eyes to see those things, they're going to tell you what you should be working on, right? So something that I'm very big on is I don't go to the track to just ride around the track, right? I want to go out there, ride and get better at it. Every time I go out, I want to get better, and this is how I've been doing it. And then third thing is, what do we do beyond the track, right? Because if we could ride every day, I would ride at the track every single day. That would be like my morning ritual. I wake up, I go to the track, I ride for like, I don't know, 20 minutes, and then I'll start my day. That would be outstanding. Since I cannot do that, what I do beyond the track is what helps me become better, right? Practicing things like putting my bike on the stand, tire warmers, hooking that all up, analyzing track maps, watching my videos from the track or other people's videos, getting on my bike when I'm sitting in the garage, just to practice these muscles, right? Put some strength into them while I'm watching videos from the track from other people so that I can see, okay, there's that turn coming up. That's when I should move my body off the bike. I'm leaning into the corner, then I'm moving back, then I'm moving to the left. It gives you the time because you're stationary there on the bike, so you're practicing your muscle memory and you're seeing the imagery. So when you get to the track, it's like, well, it feels like I've been here before, right? Your brain is already conditioned to that. Because at the track, when you're going fast, and the faster you go, the less time you have to think, right? So you just condition your mind beforehand. So cool, yeah, the plan today is not essentially to go through like an intro to track days, but to, you know, be available to you guys for whatever questions you have about your first track day. I will give a quick tip that came up to me a couple of weeks ago, but if you go to my channel, 3-Lap Rider, there is a playlist, Beyond the Track. The very first video there was the first meeting we had here last year, and the whole meeting I just talked about the first track day, how to prepare for that. And that was like my experience. This is how I prepared. I made sure that I had this, and I had this, and I had this, and this other thing, and that all got me covered. Except for the one thing I mentioned like half hour ago. I didn't memorize the track map beforehand. That was the one thing I didn't prepare for on my first track day. I will be sharing my experiences riding in Europe, which was pretty cool, and a lot of the things that I've learned from riding at the track I actually applied out there. A tip that I have for first timers, and since we have here Michael, who has done more track days before, how can we tell that level 1 riders are out on the track?
I was hoping they put like a big orange triangle.
Don't.
Obviously, but the other thing you notice
if you're from the outside
is knowing where the track goes.
That's one big thing.
People trying to figure out where I need to position myself for what's coming up. So that's the
right. That's one thing, right?
In the track.
Yeah.
If you're new on the track, you have
the place. They're off the line.
yeah, we see people off the line because they're not thinking about the corner that's 2 corners ahead. They're thinking about the corner they can see, not necessarily where they need to be for the corner after that. And sometimes you take a different line into the corner. It's not necessarily the fastest way if that was the only corner you're going to ride, but you give a little on the entrance to that corner so you can come out where you need to for the corner that's after that.
Yes, that's a very good point, and let me actually use this video to illustrate that, because at MSRH, one section that causes people a lot of grief when they are first starting is there is this section here where you go right, left, that comes in succession. When you're not used to the track, you forget, am I on that first section or on the second?
Yeah.
Right?
Am I in third gear or fourth gear? Yeah.
Yeah, and then the problem here is that when you're on the second, right, left, the thing that comes after is the long straight, the faster straight. So you want to get on the throttle. If you forget and you get on the throttle here, then you're messed up, right? Because you're coming right, left, and then here you get back on the throttle, you're gonna run wide. I mean, people just run out of the track here because they go, it's like, oh, I thought it was the long straight. No, there's still one more set of, right, left. So that's a big indication, like from level 1 riders. They're like, there's no smooth movement. It's always that, oh, that's where I'm going. Oh, there's a left turn.
Oh, interesting.
Right, so definitely, look up. Like I said, during round robin, which is a session where you're going to be going slow in the morning, instead of looking down, look up. Like, look ahead. It's like, okay, I'm familiar with this corner because if I look up, I can see the corner worker station there, and I can see the candy stripe starting there, and I can see there's like a tower at the end of the straight. I can see a tower which I can aim at because I know that's where I'm going, that's where I'm doing the heavy braking. Look up and find those references when you're going slow, because as you pick up pace, you're not going to have time for that. You have to have seen that before. So that's one thing. The other thing that we caught on, we have a friend who do a lot of corner working, and then she said, here's how I know when level 1 is out on the track. On the back straight, they go real fast, right? It's the faster section. They all go like this. They're looking at the speedometer. That's how, she said, that's how I can tell. They're, they've never gone that fast in their life, and then they keep looking down at the speedometer. Oh my goodness, I've never been this fast. Oh, whoa.
Get my phone out.
Right? Yeah, Sophie, right? Look, Mom. Don't do that. And I'll tell you, I did it. Did you?
Only occasionally. I mean, your attention is wrapped up on so many other things.
But I did.
It takes a concerted effort to actually look down for a second.
Yes. And the problem is that second, right? Because when you're going 130 miles an hour, that 1 second, man, it's like you get close to stuff real quick.
There's no reason to be up behind somebody that close on track day, right?
No. And the instructors will always say that. There's absolutely no reason to be that close to anybody on a track day. Right? And that was like, I remember at MSRH, I did do this. I remember like myself on the back stretch saying, oh man, that's fast. Mom, this is the fastest I've ever been on a bike, right? And then when I went to COTA the first time, which was my 5th track day ever, I was actually scared of going to COTA. Just from watching videos and hearing people say that, oh, I just did 170 miles an hour on the back straight, 180 miles. I'm like, my bike does not even go that fast. What am I going to be doing on that back straight that leads you into that, hairpin on turn 12? And then I did see myself. I remember like getting on the back straight, looking down like, man, 130 miles an hour? Oh, I'm getting pretty close to that rider ahead of me.
The world goes pretty pretty fast, 130.
Yes. And that was really on the beginning. When I finally realized, oh, that's why they say do not look down, because things are going to come at you so fast. And then when I've learned to actually look up, I was approaching like higher speeds without even realizing, because, if you're looking down, everything is coming at you and it looks so much faster. But when you look up, it's like, oh, I'm already there. Now it's time to brake and then make the corner and move on with life.
I'll make an offer. If you need to know how fast you're going on the track, come see me. I'll give you my lap timer. You can stick it on your bike, and when you get back, you can look at your maximum speed that
I
you
think my
Right?
I'll probably try and get my little camera thing. It's got GPS.
Yeah,
Look at it later.
look at it later.
My bike is incredibly slow, so I don't.
Yeah, look at it later.
I'd be the only person competing.
That's essentially what I started doing, right? Once I've realized, okay, yeah, I should not be looking down at all. I started setting up my camera on the tank, right, where it catches my things here, and I can see on the video later when I didn't have the GoPro with the GPS on it. Now I just run that on the software, and then I can overlay
Yeah.
all of that. But so a tip for first timers, maybe just speedometer.
Tape it up.
Yeah, just tape it up. You're not gonna need it, but you're gonna feel like, oh, let me look how fast. Forget about it. Forget how fast you're going. Oh, how fast should I go in that corner?
That's a good tip.
Right? Just whatever you, because we feel like looking at the speed. It's like, man, on this corner, how fast am I going?
Disconnected. I'll save point. I'll choose horsepower.
Right? So yeah, maybe just tape up that so you don't feel like you're gonna look at it once and it's like, oh yeah, I cannot see it. You're gonna start focusing.
Is it a cycle? You said there's 7 sessions. Is it instruction, ride, feedback, or?
It's a little looser than that. So it's so 7 sessions, and then they go level 3 goes out first, and then level 2, and then level 1, and then we keep rotating. And then throughout the day, on the very first session of the day, you're gonna have like 30 bikes on the track or something like that, and then they're gonna have, it depends, it varies the number of instructors, maybe 5, 6 instructors, each instructor with a bunch of students following them, turning laps, alternating who's following the instructor directly so that you can see the lines around the track. And then through the rest of the day, the instructors are going to be giving out jerseys, like colored jerseys, to indicate that, okay, you are working with instructor Joe, for instance. So he's going to be following you. You just go out to the track with a little colored jersey. You do your thing. The instructor is going to go around, follow you for a couple of laps, go after the other student. Then instructors will work in different manners. Some instructors will, tell you to pit in, and then right there on the hot pit, he's going to tell you, oh, on that corner you're doing this, do that. Go back out there. Or it's like, okay, just keep riding, keep riding. When we go back to class, we're going to go over, video, because many of them run cameras. They're going to show you on the video, oh, look here, what you're doing here, try this, try that. And then you can work with instructors all day, right? And what I used to do is just keep rotating. On one session, work with one instructor, another session with another instructor, because they all see different things. It's really cool. Yeah, because they all pick on different things, right? And they're there for you. I mean, just use it. It's part of the fee that you pay.
Strictly opt-in. You'd have to approach them, and at the end of the session, they'll say each one has 2 or 3 jerseys, and you say, yeah, there's one. Raise your hand, throw one to you, and you sign up on the board so they know who to expect.
Exactly.
And they will go out on the track. You can follow them.
Yeah.
They might follow you to see what you're doing. Again, when you're out in front and you don't know what you're doing, you're like, I don't know what to do. Or they'll go out in front of you and you follow them. You learn what they're doing, and then they will drop behind you and see how you're doing based on that. And the other thing in the beginner groups, you'll be out with a bunch of other beginners on the track.
Yep.
One thing that gave me a little challenge there is if you're following other riders, they may not know what they're doing. So you're following someone else who doesn't know what they're doing.
Yes.
But what you can do is if the instructor has 2 students with them, you can always tag up and be the 3rd person in that train and follow the other groups, especially when you're trying to learn the track and where it goes. Because that really, this is Michael's opinion, but on your first track days, just learn the track.
Yes.
Don't worry about body position, too many other. Just learn the track.
Just learn the track, yes.
Learn the routine of doing a track day and learn where the track goes, how many left-right turns there are, and you will accomplish a lot just doing that. So don't overstress yourself with trying to take in too many details.
Yeah, definitely follow instructors, don't follow other riders, because when you follow other riders, chances are if the guy rides out of the track, you're going to do the same, right? Because we target fixate.
Right into the ditch.
Yeah.
Yes, we see that at the track, like in level 1, because one guy is like target fixating on the bike ahead of him, the guy goes out, the other one goes right after him.
Oh, that's to ignore everybody except for safety.
Yeah, so yeah, if you are to follow somebody, follow instructors. They're always going to be on the line.
And trust me, you want to see yourself riding on a camera.
Yeah.
You really do. Even if you're not going to learn it, it's just cool to see yourself on the bike actually riding around.
Yeah.
It's like photograph of yourself when you know where you're going.
Yeah, Blair will cover you and he will get a photograph, but just actually seeing the video of you riding a motorcycle on the racetrack, it's tremendous. It's funny because I watch videos of other track days trying to learn a track.
Yeah.
And I have a really hard time with the video unless I've actually been around that track. And then when you see the video, I know exactly what corner I'm in. It all comes together. I know what part of the track you're at.
Yeah.
But, if I watch a video of Howlett and some person just riding around the track, I have no idea what part of the track they're on. And I have a hard time knowing, oh, the corner after that's a right-hand corner, and then it's a left-hand corner. Because I know, I've been there, I've seen it.
Exactly.
Watch it on the video, it takes a while to know left, right, left, right. Well, when you completed a lap, because it goes in a circle, and on a video, it could be like in a straight line between Texas and Oklahoma and never come back to the starting point.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, this is a video of me on my first track day. So like here, I felt I was Valentino Rossi. I was like close to dragging knee. I was looking awesome on the bike. And then I look at the video like, oh, dude, that's lame. Look at that. Right? Totally stiff, and like the bike is going one way, my body's another. Here's me like doing street riding.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this. I'm gonna hug this corner and I'm gonna stay on this corner. Look at this. The instructor is always on the right line. Look, where am I? Right? So on the video you actually see those things like, man, I should be here, not over there. Right? Oh yeah. Exactly.
No, please.
You will discover you will be riding the motorcycle and bumping the rev limiter because you've never ridden the bike that fast in your life, and it just kind of sneaks up on you that, wow, it kind of feels slow now.
Exactly. That's exactly right. All right, so just moving on to this riding in Europe experience, because up until last September, the only experience I had was riding track days in Texas. Right, our little circuit here with Crescent, MSRH, Coda, that's all I knew. And then sometime last year, a buddy of mine posted on Facebook this video. Let me show you just a quick, it's a 1-minute video. He posted this, and I was like, okay, that's something I want to check out. And I'm not sure why the audio is not coming through, but it's a tour and ride or track time tour in the Alps to ride that kind of back road in the Italian Alps, right? And then you go on the Autobahn to Sachsen, where the Sachsenring, the other MotoGP track is, and then you ride 2 days at that track. So I saw that video. There's like a longer version that shows a little more of the back roads and things. And then of course, German beer, Italian food, nice hotels up in the Alps. So an extra day in Munich, if you want. So I saw that, I watched that video, and I had, I showed it to my wife, and by the end of the video, she looks at me and is like, when are we going? Right, like, when are we doing this? Like, really? Are you up for it?
Yeah.
Right? Yes, hell yes, right?
Again?
So yeah, when can we do it again? Right now? So it's like, okay, that's something we want to do. We both like bikes. We love bikes, right? So I've set that as a goal last year. In January, I said, okay, what are my riding goals for the year? And I said, okay, I want to do this many track days. I want to ride these tracks. And I want to do this tour thing. I want to go to Europe, ride, in Italy, in the Alps. I want to ride another MotoGP track. I want to do this. Man, it's not cheap, but heck, I only have one life to live, right? So that's a very good reason to get off bed in the morning, go to work, work your butt off, and that's what I did. I set a goal, I put together a plan to make it work, I worked my butt off, and like the little thing says, I still have my butt, right? And it worked out well. So part of the plan, I knew I was going to be riding in Italy this kind of bike, which I've never done. I've never ridden a bike that big, right? And also that tall. And I was going to have my wife as a passenger. We were going to be carrying the top case, with a bunch of stuff. So I go, can I do it? I don't know. And then I followed suggestions from the guys running the tour. I went to a dealer, said, can I try out that bike?
Yeah.
That's what I did. Because there's like two models of this bike. One sits lower than the other. And I didn't know if I was tall enough for the high one. So that's what I wanted to check out. And I was like, okay, I rode both. I felt good on the tall one and said, okay, that's the one I want to ride. So part of the preparation. Because those things are heavy.
It's a lot more comfortable, right?
It is. And the thing about this bike is that it's very powerful. So it has all the power to go up the Alps, but it's very nimble. Because, those are some serious hairpins on those mountains. That's some serious riding.
Like they were one way.
Yes, they are one way. And then you have like cars coming your way.
Beautiful.
Thank goodness.
Yes, I'll show a little bit of some it's some crazy riding. It's not for the faint of heart, right? You have to be in control of your bike to be able to ride those, those roads.
Good.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Yeah, and then all those concepts of lines, using the track, finding the apex so that you can actually make those hairpins, it all applies here. It was awesome, right? It was outstanding, right? So yeah.
You were toting your own accoutrement in the trunk there. Does the service itself say, you can put it in the van if you don't want to carry it with you?
No, we go from like the airport to the hotel. They're going to take our stuff. And then as we go to the Alps, you carry just what you need. You ride from, we landed in Munich, got the bikes, and then from Munich to Italy, we rode. So we only take what we can fit in here. They put our stuff on the van, take it to the city, right? Because from there, we need to go to the track, which is like 3.5 hours away from there. So they take it on their van, right? So that's all part of the logistics.
So were you riding in what you would wear on the track, or did you take two different suits?
Two different suits.
The ballistic nylon.
Yeah.
For the street ride. And
Yes.
you have your track gear.
Yeah, so you have like your touring type of gear for the street riding. And then the recommendation is you have one bag with your track stuff, your track bag, with your track suit, if you want to do use like a different helmet, whatever. What goes to the track, you put on a separate, because they are going to take that and actually leave that in Munich in a safe storage. So all your track stuff is going to stay in Munich, right? And you only carry your, street stuff. Before going to the track, we ride back to Munich, return the bikes, and then we go to Chemnitz, which is the city where we go for the track, and they go on a van with your track stuff. And then you have the option to just ride with them, get a ride with them on the van, or if you want to experience the Autobahn, you just rent a BMW and you drive.
Oh, so that's not the bike you rode on the track as well?
No,
Okay.
not at all. This is just for the back road riding, which is perfect for that, right? Yeah, it was, it's so comfortable. It's so comfortable. You ride for hours on that thing and you don't even, notice.
8 hours. Perfect.
Yeah, and like the seat here is very wide.
Yeah.
It's better than the couch that we have back home.
Yeah.
right? Yeah, honestly.
I had an R, 1200R.
Oh yeah?
I run with my wife all the time.
It's great. For that kind of riding, man, it's so good. Another thing I did in preparation, prior to, I knew that at the track there, I was going to be riding on a bike running slick tires, which I had never done in my life. I had always been riding street tires on my bike, Rosso 2s and then Rosso 3s. And then, friends told me, okay, your next step to get, ready to run slicks, get the Super Corsas, because it's a stickier tire that you've ever used, and also a bigger profile. So instead of running the 180/55, I got the 180/60, which is a little bit taller. It makes the bike turn faster.
Yeah, the transition.
The transition, it just, you tip in the bike, just turns a lot faster. So, all right, I'll try that. So I got me those tires, rode like 4 track days, I think, on those tires, got used to it, got used to a stickier tire. Good. Was another thing in preparation for riding out there. Something that I've shared here at previous Beyond the Track meetings. I got all information I could about the track so that I would know the names of the turns by in this case it's by number. So when they say, oh yeah, when you're doing the corner number 3 or turn number 3, I know, oh, it's a right-hander double apex. It's in my head. I know what it looks like because I've printed these things, right? I watched videos, so I would put like on the big screen like some MotoGP video, like onboard camera, where I could see and understand what the track looks like at that corner, and then cross-check that with the view from here or from here. Because one thing is seeing the track from the map, another thing is seeing when you are riding there.
Yeah.
There's a big disconnect.
In that picture right there, you can only see that corner. You don't see the third corner after that and where you're planning to go.
Right.
My only other feedback is don't watch a race to try to learn a track.
Oh yeah, no.
From the opposite direction. That's not your vantage point when you're riding. It's almost impossible to learn the track that way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for me, this what I used it for is to get here, stop, and see what does it look like. I just stop, I freeze, I take a snapshot, and I put like, okay, on turn 3, that's what it looks like when I'm there. It's like, oh, okay, it's a left-hander. Okay, now there's that display thing, and then I know that it's that long left that seems to never end at that track. Yeah. Right? I have that in my head. Move on to the next corner. What does it look like? If I look up, oh, there's like an overpass or something. Okay, next.
Yeah, you can kind of quiz yourself too when you watch that video. Okay, this is a left-hand corner. What corner comes after this? Without looking at the track map,
yes.
Check yourself. Is the corner after this another right hand or is it a left hand? And when you can go all the way around the track and go, that's a left hand, that's a right hand, and you know just by looking at that single corner, you're starting to learn the track.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, mental lap. There is a German rider on MotoGP, I also shared here, where he does a mental lap at this track, and he is saying, I mean, you look at his body language, he's saying, okay, second gear, lean into the corner, breathe. You see him thinking, breathe.
Breathe. Interesting.
Yes. It's like,
find points.
Yes. It's like, okay, this is where I have room to breathe, and then knee over the curb, transition to the other side, blah, blah, blah. It's all in his head. Every single thing he has to do around the track, it's all in his head, right? So, I mean, to get to that level, it's a whole different ball game, but just to think how those guys think is actually a cool thing. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's some serious lean, man.
That's what we think we look like.
Yes.
Because it feels like that even when you're hardly doing it.
Yeah. And then you look at the footage from instructors like, whew, that was lame. Yeah, still think that way. And then, of course, I did all that. I went to Xbox and rode at the track that way, right? Because, again, when you're watching somebody else's video, it's passive absorption of data. Here, you're actively actually saying, okay, I have to go left. I have to go right. You're committed to actually going to the right direction. It does give you a little bit of sense of like elevation changes. That's another thing that I got from one of these maps. Elevation changes. Where am I going uphill? Where I'm going down? Up, down, right? Because when I'm on the game, I can look for those things. Okay, here we're going up. Oh yeah, after this, there's to the right, there's going to be the waterfall, big drop to the right. It does, when you're playing the video game, you don't feel those forces, but it gets your brain there. So when I got there, I actually, okay, this is what it feels like, but I knew where I was going. So that helped me quite a bit, right? So I did that, and then fast forward, we're at the track there. At first, we were supposed to be riding BMWs, S1000s. There was a mess up there with the provider. We ended up riding brand new CBR 1000s. For me, first time riding anything that was not my 18-year-old 600. So that was already a big thing for me. First time riding at that track. First time riding slicks. So there was a lot of things going on in my head, right? At that moment. A lot of things to think about. And then people start asking, questions like, okay, what is your level of expertise? In the group I was with, the tour, right? We were 4 riders. 3 of those other riders, they were club racers. Well, what's your level of expertise? I'm a club racer. I'm like, oh, shit, I'm just an intermediate track day rider. Crap. Don't even want to say it since everybody's a club racer, right? So it's like, darn it. But that's okay, I can live with that, right? Next, pretty much everybody does GP shifts out there. So, guess who was the only one who was not used to GP shift, right? So GP shift meaning the gearing is flipped. You go first up, everything else down.
Like a Harley.
Oh, I didn't know that the Harley is like that, but like MotoGP riders, I think in the current grid, everybody rides like that.
Or like old Honda 3-wheelers used to be like that. But, yeah.
So that, I mean...
It's one of those that's already wired into your brain, and now you have to consciously think about it.
So you're on the brakes and you fail toward upshift. If you lose control and step on the gear shift.
That's one thing. You are going to be going up and not down the gear, which is safer.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons. But another reason is so that when you're on the corners...
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. And the other thing is if you're on the corner, like corner exit, you're still leaning over on left corners.
Yeah.
The other way, you have to reach under the lever and tap up. You can't if your toe is almost dragging on the on the track.
Your engine's redlining and you can't upshift.
Exactly. You're stuck on the throttle. You cannot upshift.
Yeah.
What do you do? In this way, you just tap it down, tap it down, tap it down. Yeah.
That's the only reason I switched mine over, because I kept getting my foot stuck under it. It's like,
Yeah, and that's not a good sensation.
I can't accelerate. I can't accelerate until I get around the corner, and then there's room for my foot, and then I can shift up.
Yeah.
Is it that way in the United States?
Racing, yes.
It's really for your benefit and what your
Yeah.
preference is, whatever works better for you. My experience is you will get to the point where you have to shift it because it's holding back your riding. When I'm going around a corner, it's like everybody's going by me because I'm waiting to upshift.
Yeah, you're
the next
stalled on the
30
throttle.
seconds coming out of the corner.
Yeah.
Because, you will lean over so far that pedal's almost touching the pavement.
Yeah.
And there's no room for your foot under there. And if you do get your foot under there,
Oh, Jesus.
one of the warnings just getting your first track day started, as you were pointing out, Claudio, you have your foot in different position than you're used to, and I wore holes in my boot from touching the boot down to the asphalt. Even though you have toe sliders, they're like cheese. You touch them down once and they've already worn through. And I ruined some pairs of boots because I started to wear through the leather and put holes in the boots. And you only have to touch them down a few times before, if you do it 5 times on a lap, you're putting a hole in your boot.
Yeah.
And the 6th time, you're not putting a hole in your boot anymore, you're putting a hole in your toe.
Yeah,
So
that's
watch
not
out
pretty.
for those foot positions. You'll get those first couple times and you'll see the scuffs on them and that's
Yeah.
a good reminder. You need to get your toes up on the pegs and
Yeah.
not duck foot it.
Exactly.
So you have those little feedbacks. But
Yeah.
until you're going that fast on a track, you're not going to see that on the street.
No. Yeah.
So give yourself the room to discover those things on the track.
Exactly.
Is it a little widget, your box? Or?
It depends.
It depends
Some
on the
bikes you
bike.
can, some bikes it's impossible to do. If you have a linkage, you can flip the linkage upside down 180 degrees and tighten the bolt in, and you're good to go. Some of them, the shifter comes right out of a shaft inside the engine, and there's no way to change those. So it depends on what bike you have.
Go home and look at it.
Yeah, for me, that's being able to do that easily. That's what saved me, right? Because the other 3 riders, they were fine with GP shift, and we had 2 to 1, so 2 riders for a bike. So we were sharing a bike, right? We were in different groups, so we were sharing the bike, and I was the only one who was not used to GP shift. But fortunately, this model of CBR, it was something that took their guys like 30 seconds to just open the thing, switch it. But it was always like that sensation, okay, whenever the next guy is coming in, okay, now Claudio's next. It felt like they were putting like training wheels on the freaking bike.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, man, that sucks. It's hurting deep in here.
Go with what you're comfortable
Yeah.
with. Because on the track, the downside of an upside down shift pattern is you're coming out of the corner ready to accelerate, and if you pull your toe up, you just downshifted into a lower gear when you're at maximum RPM.
Yeah, and
That will
that's,
get your attention really quick. So
Fun to listen to.
creep up on that one.
so yeah, on that one, they were trying to push me into actually trying that, and I said, no, no thanks. No thanks. And I'll tell you why in just a second, but my new Daytona is actually set to GP shift. I've done 2 track days on it, and my main focus has been get used to
It's funny.
gear shifting.
You have the quick shifter on it?
Not yet.
I learned on the.
That's
yeah.
changed my riding. Just
I
right
keep
now.
hearing that. That's going to be my next upgrade on the bike. It's going to be a quick shifter.
Yeah, because if you close the throttle with the quick shifter, it makes everything really jerky. The electronics, you just have to pin it, hold it open, and just shift it, and it's magic.
Yeah.
But
Right. Yeah. So that's something like right now, my next couple of like several track days is going to be just getting used to it, because right now I'm having to think every time I have to shift. I have to think up or down, up or down, up or down. And I don't have that time to think. It's been messing me up. I've been running wide on corners because I'm like, no, it's up, or no, it's down.
yeah,
I need to get used to it to a point where I'm not thinking about it. So that was that. And then we look outside, that's the weather. There's rain, right? So I'm on a track I've never ridden, right? I'm on a bike I've never ridden. I had never ridden a 1,000 bike. I was used to my 600. I don't know, whoa, a 1,000 bike? Holy crap.
Plus 20 years.
Right? Yes, like a brand new with all the electronics and stuff. And of course, it does rain, right? And to add insult to the injury, I hear that there is a deductible on that bike because it's a rental bike. It's a 4,000 euro deductible.
oh wow.
So you're on slicks even though it was raining?
When it started raining, they've thrown rain tires. Yeah, definitely no slicks when it was raining. So here was the thing: my first time riding on the rain with rain tires. I had ridden at the track with street tires. Didn't like the feel. That was sketchy. Riding at that track with rain tires, man, that was unbelievable. The amount of traction, it was out of this world. The surface on that track, for one thing, it's butter smooth. It's like no imperfections whatsoever, because I think they had resurfaced like maybe 2 years prior to it. It was like the entire track. There were no spots where it's like, okay, avoid that bump, avoid that seam. No, there's nothing. You
There's
just
no reference points in the
no,
asphalt at all.
there's nothing. And when it started raining, it's like, okay, let's try it. All right, and then they've put the rain tires on. It's like, man, you can actually lean into the corners. I can see it's wet and everything, but all good. I didn't feel the bike like moving underneath. Nothing. It was crazy experience. That to me was like, okay, this is what it feels like. Great. It's already a lesson learned, right? So that was pretty cool.
Did it dry out What's the difference between that picture and the one after it?
So I rode there 2 days, right? This was day one. Day one, it rained most of the day. The last 2 sessions was dry, right? Yeah. It was dry. The last set, like 3 sessions before last, it was pretty wet. The next one, it was pretty dry. However they've built the track, it actually dries really quick, right? So the last 2 sessions of the day was dry, just fine. Next day we had sun pretty much all day, so then we could start actually pushing. Now I know the track, I've seen it, I know the line, I can actually start pushing. So that's when we had the slicks. I mean, pun intended, it was slick. Right, because coming out of corners on such a grippy tire, and then like feeling that you are on the throttle and seeing the rear end like moving off just a little bit because you're using the traction available, that was delicious. Like going around and seeing these candy stripes like up close, like going by, and you're like sliding off the corner like that, or that's how it felt to me. I did feel like, okay, it's stepping up just enough where I can just hold on the throttle and keep going gradual, right? Because you're standing the bike upright, so as long as you don't chop, you just keep gradually going up. Okay, this is good. I can get used to it. I had heard before, I was forewarned that German riders are fast. And sure they are. Those guys are up to no game. They are there to work on their lap times. They are fast. I rode they had 4 levels. It was like beginners, and then like 2 intermediate levels, and the fast levels. I was in the first intermediate, right? So beginner, first intermediate, second, and fast, I was in the second. So I wanna
So it's like Coda.
kind of Coda 2B, right? But their Coda 2B felt like the 2A, because those guys were like fast and very smooth around the corners. But most importantly, they were clean, right? It was like open track day. There's no class, right? You just go out and you ride. But they were very clean. While riding here in Texas, intermediate level is what people say it's like the dawn of terror or something like that, because it's very sketchy in level 2 here in Texas, because you get like people who are not fast enough or predictable enough to be in level 2, and others who are really fast and should be in 3. And you get that all into the same bucket. So it is kind of sketchy. You have to be very careful. And sometimes you see some passes that's like, that was sketchy, right? Out there, no. Those guys, they ride around you, they analyze you, and when they make a pass, it's like, whatever, dude. It does not startle you, because they've been following you. They know how you're riding. They're going to find the best place to go around you. And so I felt like at no moment whatsoever, I felt like, oh, what is this guy doing? Which around here, it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, dude, come on. There, nope, no big deal. I couldn't run my cameras because at the time I didn't have a GoPro. I had a different kind of camera which uses different mounts, and I didn't have the mounts to attach to the bike, so I only have one video out of my sessions there, because the guy I was sharing the bike with, he had his GoPro, so he was kind enough to let me see that, and I can actually show you a little bit just so that you can see what the track looks like from a.
So this was a track day that was set up. So you did your tour, and this was just a track day some of the tour participants signed up for?
Pretty much everybody who participated on the tour also rode the track. It was just one guy who decided, no, I want to do the tour part, but not ride at the track.
Okay.
Because he didn't feel, he had just started riding.
Yeah.
He didn't feel, comfortable with riding at the track. So that was like part of the deal. You ride 4 days at the Alps, and then 2 days at the track. Now here, let me tell you the story about this session. This was a session on the second day in the afternoon. All the bikes have transponders. right? So that they track your lap times all day, and then they bump you up or down based on your lap times because they have that data, right? And it's like, all right, that's fair enough. Yeah, that was perfect, right?
Slow class.
Yeah. Right, so I'm looking at my lap times compared to the previous day, and they're dropping and dropping and dropping. Like, all right, I'm getting a hang of this. This is pretty cool. And then I'm getting ready to my next session, and then I'm told that I've been bumped down. Like, what
Everybody has a
the?
game too, yeah.
Like, what the heck? But then the thing is, I look at the times, and I see that this one guy that was like a hundredth of a second faster than me, he was still in the other group. But they only bumped me down. I'm like, was I on that threshold? Like, okay, all right, whatever, right? But then on this group, it was a little bit more sketchy. It was a lot slower, so I had to like look at the guy on the corners. Like, clearly, like it's like a level 1 type of guy here.
Yeah.
See how he's not leaning into the corner with the body?
Leaning away from
Yeah, away from the bike. With erratic lines, so I couldn't just go by them. I had to wait to see what he was going to be doing on the track.
Yeah, if you're going to pass people, it has to be predictable, and you have to
Yeah.
know what they're going to do or not going to do.
Exactly. Right, so like this guy, he knows what he's doing, right? This great body position, very smooth through the corner. He just goes by people.
Straight away, 2 bikes.
Yep. Right, and he puts himself there, and it's still pretty clean. I mean, he didn't do anything crazy there. But I just decided to, sit behind and say, okay, I don't know what's going on here. Let me just wait. Right? Like here, like on this corner, let's see. I'll get this thing away. Right, this is like a fast right-hander. People kind of get stuck like here. I'm like, okay, I should be going like 130 miles an hour down here, but see how there's no line? They're sort of like all over the place and going slow.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not going to even try. So I just, yeah, I just sit and wait. That's something about me. I don't try crazy passes for nothing. I let them go, or I ride through the pits and then come back to the track.
Yeah, and that's a key. If you have like more than 4 or 5 people in front of you, pull off and just and play catch up. They'll get 30 seconds ahead. Play catch up.
Play catch up, yeah.
As fast as you want. Because the problem is everybody in that group is either feeling pressured to pass somebody, and you have 4 people all trying to pass everybody. It just gets a little chaotic.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to let go of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good tip.
Get back out there.
Right, so that was that. There was a noise level. That's a track that's kind of like Laguna Seca here. Yes. They can only do 10. They have to. That was the main reason why we didn't do the BMWs, because they didn't have the mufflers installed, and these had, because there's a section on the track that they actually put cones there to indicate to us, like going into the main straight, saying, when you guys come out of here, make sure you don't downshift to second. Stay in third, keep those revs down so that the bike's not too loud, because when it goes above the level, the entire track, it has like lights that go off to indicate, and if it keeps doing it, they just shut down the track day. Yeah, because they only allow like 10 days a year for the track to go full blown, and then they use that like 3 days for MotoGP, 1 day for track days, and the other for like local competitions.
Oh, that's interesting local knowledge you have to have. Because I've heard the same thing about Laguna Seca, the approach to the corkscrew. You actually take a weird line going up to that curve that you never would take to have a fast lap. But you're taking it to get further from the microphone, so you don't trigger the noise detector going off.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's the last thing I would think of doing a track day.
Yeah, so that was a thing at this track.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think they tell you where it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, if, like on that video, we can actually see when I go by, let's go to the main straight, which is here. Yeah, so here we're gonna go make that left-hander. So here, instead of dropping into second, we just keep third. And then on the right, you see the cones. See the cones here starting?
Oh.
So here they say, just keep low revs And then here you can open up. Because then you're past wherever the sensors are, then you can go in full throttle. Because that was the section of the track where it was going off.
Yeah.
Like, man. So that was a thing. And the other thing was, so second day, last session, we couldn't ride. Because the previous session, a guy on a Ducati decided to take a full lap leaking oil. He had already been black flagged, but instead of pitting in, he just took a full lap around the track. They said, the time is going to take us to clear this whole thing. The day is, that's it. So yeah, that was a boneheaded move.
How late in the day did you get to ride?
I think until 5.
Yeah.
That's when they closed it. At the end of the first day, I thought it was pretty cool that they've put together this area where this one suspension specialist shared, suspension things, right? He had a bike, he had some suspension parts, and he was just lecturing people. Of course, I didn't benefit from that because it was all in German, and the little German that I've learned beforehand, I knew how to order a beer, and that was about it.
So, yeah, that's a good point on the track day. If you're going to different countries, etc., what is the language if you have coaches or things like that?
Very tricky. So the guy who does the riders meeting, he of course speaks English. So what he does is he does the general riders meeting in German, and then whoever only speaks English, he does a little, brief. Okay, these are the rules. Off you go. Working with coaches, the one coach that I worked with for like 2 laps because that was extra that you had to pay. But the guy was showing me the line. I don't remember what country he was for, but it was not any language that I could understand. It was not also German, or was it? I don't remember. But it was hard, right? Because I was like, okay, I could only use him to like follow his line.
A reference, yeah.
That was it, right? I couldn't really interact much because, he knew very little English, very little. So at this point, well, I couldn't benefit from that, but I could benefit from free German beer, right? Only at a German track you get that, right? We don't get that at Coda. Free German beer? So that was a thing, right? So that was a thing. That was pretty cool the way they did. I did win the track day. I got to stand up there on the podium, right?
Good job.
Yeah, I put everybody out of commission. That's why there was only me there. So, but that was, a kind of cool experience, right? Being able to do that. Part of the kit that you get from the tour is, these shirts to put under the ladders. The reason why I bring up, besides being pretty cool because it has like the track you rode for that tour, it has your last name, right? So it's a custom made for you there. But I've been wearing this ever since. It's the most badass under leathers that I've used, period. Right? If you have to buy it, it is not cheap, but it's the only one you need. It dries off real quick. So if you have to ride 2 days, no big deal. It dries off like on my body, like within 30 minutes after we're done with the track day. Because I'm like, packing my stuff and I'm like, oh, okay, I need to swap shirts. No, I don't, because it's dry already. And just the texture, it's some Italian fabric. You slide right into that thing. The leathers slide right into it. And I actually just bought the bottom part as well recently, and I love it. It's all I need. I'm almost throwing away the other ones I have. Venom, VNM Sport is where you can find those. So that was pretty cool. And of course, the back road riding, right? That was a huge part leading to the track. Because, you get to ride those twisty roads. You get to the top, and then you get to see this kind of scenery. Pictures don't do justice. Okay? I make the pictures because I can close my eyes and then see myself out there.
Yeah.
But if you haven't been there, it's like, yeah, it's a nice picture. No, you have to be there to see that. Right? It's like you have to do it, There was this one pass, this one back road called Mungen Pass. That is the one that they say once you ride that pass, you get to this little restaurant at the top, and then they sell you like a little sticker, which is like, I rode Mungen Pass, because it's like the hardest one there is out there. And holy crap, it is hard.
Yeah.
It is a tough ride.
How long a ride is it?
That one from the bottom to the top, that day, I think it took us 15 minutes maybe, but it felt like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I will show you why. When we got to the top, look at what the weather was like. It was foggy, it was raining.
E o caminhão com os troncos na nossa frente para subir aí.
Oh yeah, going up there was like a little truck with some lumber on it going up. A little road. Now what did the little road look like? I'll show you.
Oh, it looked like that? That's awesome.
That's awesome, right? So first, before that little road, let me show you when it was sunny and bright and perfect weather for riding. And this is on a 360-degree camera. It's on my side, if you on my channel. If you have like a VR headset, which I forgot to bring, you watch that with a VR headset, you can actually look around and you can see all around me. Actually, my wife was wearing the helmet with the camera on top of her helmet, so you can see all around it, right? The pavement here,
Center line just messes with my head.
Don't crash.
What
yes,
side's your side? What side's my side?
right?
One rule, don't crash.
The pavement here, better than most tracks, I mean, COTA aside, better than all tracks I've ridden in Texas. Perfect. Why? Well, they get snow down every year, so they resurface this like every 2 or 3 years or something like that. So perfect surface, just perfect, right? So that's the kind of road.
I'm from a part of the U.S. that gets snow every year.
Right, so you know, yeah, you know how that
It
is.
doesn't get asphalt every
It's not that smooth. I would say it's because it's Germans doing German stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it was ridiculous. Like on the Autobahn, the parts that they were resurfacing is like, why are they resurfacing this? It's better than all the freeways that we have here. No, we have to resurface. That's not good. Not up to our standards. Like, all right.
I found the Motostrada to be like that also.
Yeah. Yeah, this was outstanding. So that was first day out in the Alps. The following days, though, we got some rain, right? And then we get to ride that kind of road when it's raining. But for my own benefit, my wife is a trooper, and she doesn't mind that it's raining and it's on a bike. Let's go. It's just, let's go. Let's stop talking. Let's go.
He's not sliding or
Right? And she trusts me. She knows that I'm not doing crazy stuff out there, right?
Pretty tranquil.
Right? And it was like, of course, the camera makes it look darker, but it was pretty foggy and, dark. And look at the kind of road, right? You see like the kind of like hairpins?
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
Oh my God, is the front tire gonna stick?
Yes, the camera is on the mirror here on the left. That's where I've mounted. Yeah, look at the hairpins going up.
It's awesome.
That's weird having the two arrows pointing at each other. Am I supposed to go in the middle?
So yeah, that road was something else, man. Right? And at some point, I think on this video, you're gonna see, we didn't have many cars coming in the other direction, which was good. We did see a couple of them, but we did see some cows right by the road. I think it's coming up.
Lot of Pepsi lives.
Oh, yeah, right. So I think it's back here, which kind of startled me. Don't remember if it was here.
There's a lot of metal and stuff.
Yes. Where did the... Oh, and that was... oh, it's going to be too dark for you guys to see. Yeah, so... Yeah, so my wife is saying that the other thing is just how high we were up. It was like 2,000 kilometers up. So a lot of elevation changes.
Getting cold.
Yes. Oh yeah, it was very cold. Right. September there, like raining like this,
Did you have
and it
heated
was
grips?
cold. Was that?
Your BMW. Or heat.
Yes, and I
Makes a big
used
difference,
that.
huh?
Yeah.
Man, it's such a huge difference.
Yeah, it's like
Right.
Your hands in hot water.
Exactly, and that's when we get to the point there. Beer, yeah, exactly. Right. So that was very tricky, but I mean, we would do that again in a heartbeat because it's such a
Have you tried to do any of that in the Rockies?
no.
I wonder how it would compare.
Okay.
I've done it in cars,
Okay.
but it's not quite as narrow, but certainly
Yeah, man.
scary.
Yeah, I think I'm happier going uphill than downhill. It's wet.
Yes, and we did go downhill as well. So that's, I mean, a lot of like what I've learned at the track, I totally apply there. Throttle control, making those hairpins, because if you go like on a bike that powerful, oops,
Yeah.
right? So you just go smooth on the throttle, on the brakes, all of that. I mean, it was already second nature, and it, it helped a lot out there, because you definitely want to take that into consideration. We were trying to escape the rain, so we were looking for like places we could go ride while it was not raining. There was one day that was going to rain a lot up in the Alps, but it was showing that we could go to Venice and escape the rain. And it was a 4-hour ride. And my wife said, let's do it. And we did, right? So we rode, down the Alps all the way to Venice, 4 hours, did some, just sightseeing. And then coming back another 4 hours. Now the trick was, it got late at night. We were on our own because the group, which was not much of a group at that point, because they decided to, leave us behind because we were 10 minutes late, right? That one day, we were early every single day. That one day we were 10 minutes late. Nobody waited for us. So
It's hard to make up 10 minutes too, no matter how hard and fast you ride. 10 minutes is really
Right.
hard to make up.
yeah, and we said, you know what? Screw them. We'll just do a ride. Let's just ride a ride. And we went, we just went on our own. It was all good. But coming back, we are going, up and down the mountains, because you go from, zero, and then you keep going up and up and up and up, and 2,000 kilometers, or 2,000 meters, I'm sorry. And then you come down, and then up and down, and you feel those elevation changes. It was raining. It was at night. It was foggy. Look at my helmet. I didn't bring the clear visor
Oh, yeah.
Smoke visor.
because I was,
Yeah.
that's my track helmet, right? And I thought we were only going to be riding, during the day. Well, not that day. So I had to keep it up, all the rain, trying to see through the fog, going up the hill, seeing a deer crossing like right in front of us, stuff like that. Having my wife as a passenger, right? And we were on our own, going up the mountains late at night.
So what's it like when you're touring on the road? For example, one of the things when I'm riding on the street and going long distance, it's like, oh, can I get gas? Can I make it? It's 40 miles away. Do I have the range? So you're on a bike you don't know, with the range wise. Is gas readily available, or do you have to go like 60 miles between towns before you get somewhere?
So most of the rides we do there, we go behind one of their guides, right? And the guide usually knows all of the region. He knows how far we're going to ride. He knows where the gas stations are. And when it's time to stop and top off, he'll say, okay, this is the time to do it. But bikes have GPS on them, preloaded with like the main routes we're going to be riding, and like gas stations and stuff like that. So you can use the GPS for that.
So are there like unexpected things like cobblestone roads where it's not asphalt? And I remember being in Puerto Rico one time, it's like, oh my God, if I had to ride a motorcycle on the streets, it's not pavement, it's not concrete, it's kind of in between.
Yeah, I know. Not in Italian Alps, I didn't see any of that. It was all perfect, didn't have to worry about. I am used to cobblestones though, because of in Brazil we do have those, and I did ride on those when it's raining like this
really?
deep or this deep. Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Yes.
You got some practice.
Yes, I did that. Several times in Brazil when it rained, and what's worse is that you get like these huge hole pots or potholes,
Yeah.
right? And you're not seeing because it's like
under the water, which is smooth.
Yes.
yeah, it's something else. So what we had to ride on there,
No.
oh great. And the other cool thing about having the GPS was that, like, for us riding on our own, going up the mountains, not knowing anything, is that you can look and the GPS is like driving on a video game where you can see the track map. So that was another thing that I've used, like experience from the track. Like at the track, you learn to not be like swooping around. You learn to find a line, a straight line. So like at Coda, when you have the S's, you have those S's, you don't go scooping around. You find that straight line around it. Here was the same thing. I would look at the GPS like, okay, there's a sharp turn here, and then there's going to be some S's. I can try to find a line in between. And then you look up, it's like, yes, I don't have to be swooping around. I can just go straight. So I know where I can gas up, where I have to slow down, because I see what's coming up at me. That was a lifesaver. Yeah, that was a lifesaver. If I didn't have that, then I would be like tiptoeing around everything, right? So I felt safe around the whole thing. And so did she, right? It was just great adventure. It was pretty cool. So I recommend, I mean, if you guys want to go for an adventure, this is, you know, great. If you like riding, if you like seeing, you know, beautiful places, that's the kind of stuff.
Eu troco qualquer coisa pra ir de novo.
Yes, she said she would exchange anything, you know, in favor of doing that. Like, if we need to choose between things, that's what we want to do. This we're going to save for next month. Hopefully Brett can join us to share his experiences crashing there. And then wrapping up, please consider becoming a patron for BTT. That way I can, you know, keep providing this kind of content and move on with the plans that I have in my, you know, evil mind to make these things better and have better tools for us. Tentative topic for next month, he's a personal trainer, and he's going to be helping us figuring out what is the best, you know, type of workout that we can have for track riding. What kind of exercises should I be doing to become fit for track riding? Because, man, it is tiring.
Your first track day, you will feel it. No, even if you go to the gym, you're going to use muscles you don't train.
Weird little muscles. Yeah.
Oh my God. It's like the beginning of the year is coming and your body will have to learn something.
It hurts. And then it gets to a point where it's like, I want to ride more, but my body's telling me, no, dude, stop.
Yeah.
Right? Last time out at the track, I was like in a member day where I could ride like 30-minute sessions. I mean, 15 minutes, I was at the top of my game. Between 15 and 20, I started feeling like it's time to pit in. It's like my body's telling me I'm not reacting fast enough. Like on those quick transitions, I was like so slow, so sloppy. Like enough of that. Enjoy your next or first track day. Be safe out there. And well, thanks a lot for coming, guys. And I'll be around here if you guys have any questions or comments.